We're going to mirror the image. Wally's going to act like he's done this before. Yeah, ready. We got new weekly challenge. We're going to be here a while today, guys. We're going to be here a while today because I can't stream this afternoon. So we're going to be here as long as we can today. We'll be here as long as we can today. Tomorrow I will be fishing. The cloud cover is rolling in. So as long as we're not getting dumped on with rain tomorrow, we got a lot to talk about, hunting and fishing wise. We got a lot to talk about. Everybody's offline right now, so I don't know how busy the stream's going to be. I did not mean to like the live. Come on, boys. Come on in. Molly's Fishing Channel is live. I take one day. Had to go out with the girlfriend yesterday. That was fun. Had to go out and meet one of her friends. We took one of her friends out to dinner. Her husband. It was her husband's birthday, so we had to do that yesterday. I tried like heck to post as many videos as I could before we left, and I couldn't get a live in. We didn't get home until 9 o'clock. I'm like, I'm not going to go live at 9 o'clock at night about a fishing channel. It just didn't seem very productive to go to 9 o'clock at night in a fishing channel. I hope everybody is having a good Monday morning wherever you are. I hope you're having that. We're going to be here a while today. So we got a lot to talk about. Got some hunting and fishing news that's crazy. We're going to talk about tomorrow's fishing stream. We got a lot to talk about here on today's Wild Days Fishing Channel. So come on in. See, I'm using the cup I promoted. See, I did a TikTok shop live, did a video. So we're using the cup today. Big bucks and I cannot lie cup. Hopefully the room fills up here. We can get going. I hope you guys have had a good weekend. I had a good weekend. Like I said, we were busy. We had Christmas shop on Saturday. I still went live on Saturday. I don't even know how I have the energy to do that. I guess because I've been doing this for like 3 years now, I can just hop on and have the energy. But I'm telling you, it is a different animal when you have to do this on an everyday basis. When you start doing this on an everyday basis and you got to come out with new content, you got to, really keep people happy. It can be rough. So like I said, I'm waiting for people to show up before we get into it too much, because I don't want to have to repeat myself, is how that goes. But fishing tomorrow for sure. We got cloud cover coming in. We got some cooler weather. We got some wind. All three things I like. One thing I like, movement shallow a little bit. Like I said, we had to go out with the girlfriend and her girlfriend's husband for his birthday last night. I had to do the boyfriend thing for one night. Actually, I had to do the boyfriend thing all weekend because Saturday we had to go out shopping, but that's how I got this new Oakley hoodie, this camo, and a bunch of other stuff. So it wasn't all bad. One thing had fun. We got another Under Armour hoodie. I needed some hoodies for trout fishing. This is normally a $100 hoodie. We got it for $20 at an Oakley outlet store. So I think I'll take the win on that. Yes. So we got a lot to talk about. Fishing tomorrow. That's the first thing. It'll be in the morning, probably 7:30 to 10, something like that, like we usually do. And then we'll come back and do a recap tomorrow evening. Now, remember, this is the week I have my girlfriend's daughter over, so we don't stream as much at night. We try to stream more during the day to make up the difference. So on the week, every other week, it changes. So like normally I'll do an afternoon and a morning stream. If she's here, not out of the house, or if she gets here late like tonight, I can stream in the afternoon, no problem. But it's kind of chaos in a 2-bedroom apartment trying to stream with the daughter, and yeah, so we try to go early and go live longer in the morning on those weeks. So a lot of stuff to talk about in the hunting and fishing industry. Now, we were just talking about conservation laws yesterday. It was yesterday we were talking about conservation laws, and yesterday when we were talking about it, I posted a video about the guy who couldn't follow gun safety laws. We talked about that yesterday. We talked about the gun safety law guy in Pennsylvania. Was it Saturday? Friday or Saturday we talked about him. So then I get on my feed, because my feed is just full of content. If I ever need content for my stream in the morning, I just have content flying in off my feed. So there is a big battle going on in Michigan right now with deer hunting, because the hunters like to leave out feed for the animals. And it is a problem. Okay. In the fishing and hunting industry, we sit there, we talk about gear, we talk about like the hoodies, the clothes, the fishing lures. We talk about all the stuff that you need. And a lot of times people take it the wrong way. Okay. They think, oh, well, this person just has a lot of money. This person doesn't care about the sport. You see the people in the hunting industry going after the people that wear Sitka gear. You know, a lot of that is just people being jealous. You know, Wild Thing has been doing this for 3 years, been on social media. I've been in the fishing and hunting industry for almost 30 years. I have been a tournament angler. I know how people work. And people do not like people that have money doing commercials for people that don't. Every time I do a TikTok shop video, every time I do a TikTok shop live, whether I use the cups or not on screen, whether I use the glasses, whatever I promote, oh, the hatred. And it's going on right now in the professional bass fishing industry. People are mad because those people have $200,000 bass boats and they don't relate to them. So heaven forbid they have sponsors and make money because they're better at something than you. Okay. And again, we talk about this all the time on the channel, and it's a shame. It is a shame that people cannot just look at that and go, okay, it is what it is. We look at professional athletes the same way now. Now there's been a turn on professional athletes. And in the fishing and hunting industry, it's just a round of jealousy. That's all it is. It's the same people that message me on their content creation and they're like, well, you never shout me out or whatever. I'm not going to shout you out if you don't come into my stream. Right? If I don't see you coming to my stream, if I don't see you co-streaming with me, if I don't see you doing anything with me, but I follow you to be nice and supportive of the fishing and hunting industry, and then I don't see you again, and you get deleted, don't come back to me and say, well, you didn't do anything to promote me. That is nonsense. I try to promote everybody, and a lot of small content creators know this because they used to be in my co-streams all the time. You know, that is utter nonsense. But in the fishing and hunting industry, like what we were talking about Saturday with the Pennsylvania guy who could not follow the conservation laws to save his life, and he got himself shot by the dog. We do this to ourselves. And we do this to ourselves because with fishing stuff and hunting stuff, everybody looks at the price. Nobody looks at the quality anymore. And I shouldn't say nobody. There are plenty of people that are willing to pay for the quality. But they think that they are entitled to something that they cannot afford or deal with. Okay? How's it going, Parker? So this is a problem. This is a problem. I'm wearing an Oakley hoodie right now. Okay? I'm going to make an example. All right? We're going to make an example. I'm wearing an Oakley hoodie right now. How much do you think this Oakley hoodie cost? Like somebody put in the comment section, how much do you think this Oakley hoodie cost? Because then I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you why perception is so bad. Go ahead. Somebody put in the comment section how much they think this Oakley hoodie costs. Go ahead, Parker. How much do you think it costs? Yeah. You said 80. You know how much I paid for it? $20. Perception, reality. Okay? And the reason I'm bringing this up today is I bought it at an Oakley outlet store at the mall. It was on sale for $20. Yeah, that's a steal. This is a normal $100 hoodie. It's a normal $109 hoodie. Okay? Perception and reality. People see me with the Oakley sunglasses. People see me with the Bass Pro gear. People think that I used to tournament fish, that I have a lot of money. They think, oh, he's got to have a lot of money. He's not one of us. He has a lot of money, right? He's got the grandfather clock in the background. He must have a lot of money. Okay? I live in a nice area. I must have a lot of money. Right? And that's what the fishing industry is going through right now. Perception and reality. Tournament anglers are actually making less and less money now. Payouts are less and less. And not only that, to make their lives even easier, a lot of states are cutting back on the number of tournaments they're allowing because of obvious reasons, right? Life scope and everything else. And some are legitimate, right? Some of those things are legitimate. But again, the industry is imploding on itself, right? And that's why I say, would I recommend a fishing reel that's $200, or I recommend a fishing reel that's $400, or I think this one is better than that. That is not a stab at you, okay? I don't care what you make. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care if you have more money than me, and I don't care if you think it's evil that I'm recommending a $200 fishing reel. When I say I don't care, I am telling you that I think that's a better fishing reel from 30 years of fishing experience and knowing fishing stuff. From 30 years of being on backwoods waters and fishing tournaments to tell you that reel is better or not. I'm not looking at the price when I recommend a reel. I am looking at what I think will catch fish for the purpose for the average angler to catch fish. And there are times, if you've watched me long enough, where I do recommend cheaper reels that I think are within budget for most people and can still catch fish. Right? But in the fishing industry, we have gotten away from that. We have gotten away from relating to the average angler. We have gotten away from being personable, being nice, being kind. And what ends up happening is suddenly they see you in the $100 Oakley hoodie that I only paid $20 for, and they think you have a lot of money. They see me with the Oakley sunglasses, thinking I have 10 pairs of Oakley sunglasses laying around the house. You know, the perception and the reality. And that's the problem in the fishing industry today. And the reason the sport is taking such a hit is people don't relate to that. At a time where we almost live in 1920s America, where there's a big group of people that have money and there's a big group of people that don't. Right? And it's a perception thing. So when they see the $200,000 bass boat, when they see the guy driving around with LiveScope, when they see the guy catching fish with a computer, they don't relate to that. That is not something that is obtainable for them. So therefore, they are not going to watch. Nobody wants to watch a sport that makes them feel bad about themselves, right? Nobody wants to watch something that doesn't entertain them or they don't relate to. Why do people switch news organizations all the time? It's to whatever they believe is the right thing. They ignore the other one. They ignore the opposite side. That's what we live in 2025. We ignore the opposite social media creator who might defend LiveScope. If you hate LiveScope, you're not watching that guy. Vice versa, right? You're not doing it. That's why the fishing industry is on its ass right now. That's why they can't get people to relate, all right? The lure companies, I've been in retail for 25 years. The lure companies are taking a hit because people are buying now the jig minnows just for LiveScope fishing. Those types of lures are fading off. The spinnerbaits, the lipless crates, the stuff that I learned to fish with, the stuff that you probably learned to fish with. It's going to be very different in the next 20 years because of what they sell. Because the market demands that. I always tell people, you don't want them to sell $200,000 bass boats, stop buying them. That's the part of capitalism nobody talks about. Stop buying them. If you don't believe in what they're doing, stop buying from that company. If you don't believe what they're trying to sell you, stop buying from that fishing company. Stop buying from Sitka Gear if you think they charge too much. Stop buying from these companies. And then they will be forced to lower prices to stay in business. And if they don't, they go out of business. But too often we look at the bad side of capitalism where we say, those are just greedy rich companies. Well, stop feeding into the machine. You don't like $8 coffee? Stop buying Starbucks every day. You have a choice in the matter too. That's why Bassmaster is taking a hit, right? That's why MLF is taking a hit. They don't relate to the guy, which is a bit unfair, but it don't relate to the professional angler. They don't. 30, 40 years ago, we saw professional fishing as a professional sport. We saw it just like baseball, basketball, hockey, football, soccer. We saw it in that same parameter. We don't see it that way anymore. People would much rather watch a kid fishing in a creek than somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. Right? They relate to people that they relate to. It's a sociology example. I'm a history and political science major. It's a sociology example. If you fit in with a group of people, those are the people you're going to hang out with. It's much more likely and a probability that the group of people that you fit in with or you relate to economically are the types of people you're going to hang around. And what makes it worse is the professional tournament organizations. They don't know how to open their mouth and not sound idiotic. And that's me being nice in the fishing industry. They don't know how to say, you know what? We know you may not be able to afford that. So here's this other example of what you can catch fish with. We care about you. We want to see you grow the sport. The companies that do this better and get people to relate, use loss lead merchandising like Bass Pro, where they go, okay, well, you can't afford our $200 reel, but here's a $90 combo that anybody can use. They put out front, still a piece of junk, but they'll put it out front, but at least they're relating to people. The companies that don't do that, a lot of small-time tackle shops that just sell stuff more expensive and just sell the high-end stuff, that's only going to hit a certain audience, right? So again, you have to realize the market you're in. You have to realize where social media is in 2025 versus what it is in 2010, right? 2015. Think about how much the culture's changed about economics or politics in the last 10 years in America and around the world, not just here, around the world. So when these people don't relate to these fishing content creators that have lots of money, or they believe they have lots of money, that is why. People do not want to relate to people they don't understand or have more money than them. See, it was the opposite when I was growing up in the 80s. In the 80s and 90s, we wanted to be those people. We wanted to be the ones with the houses, the cell phones that were big and huge like a box, the boom boxes, the cars, the credit cards. We wanted to be those people. That mind shift has shifted the opposite direction, especially in the fishing and hunting industry. The perception and the reality are two different things. Hunting and fishing companies always been greedy, trying to make money, yes. But the perception is because of inflation, because of what's out on social media, well, that's what they got to be doing. I bought this hoodie from Oakley. Everybody says Oakley's expensive. This hoodie is normally $109. Nobody bought it at $109, so it was marked down to $20, and I paid $20. But the perception is I'm wearing a $100 Oakley hoodie, so therefore I must have money. I'm wearing Oakley sunglasses with lights. Those lights cost me $10. People don't know that. They may think they're a lot more money. The perception and the reality is what's causing the fishing industry collapse. I'm not paying $9 for a crankbait or $12 for a crankbait. I'm not going to go out and buy a $200,000 bass boat because I'm not falling for it. And I'm not going to listen to you if you tell me I have to go out and get one. That's why all this hate on TikTok shop. Social media has always been used to promote things. That's how content creators have always made money. Doesn't matter whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Views and stuff comes to the company and the guys, newsflash, that sell things for those companies and get sponsors. That's how they're able to promote their videos. That's how they're able to get out there every day. Get the $12,000 cameras to film their streams. That's all coming from promotion too, folks. In fact, most of your top fishing content creators don't even edit their own videos. They're edited by people they hired to do that. Must be nice, by the way, be up at 3 a.m. and not have to get up and edit for 6 hours. But that's where we're at in 2025. The backlash on money has become into hunting and fishing. Every video. Now, a lot of these videos are rage bait videos, right? These hunters that get up here and say, oh, well, they don't like me because I don't have Sitka. No, I know very few hunters that actually go to you and say, now, for every hunter and fisherman that I've seen do that, I've seen 10 people that are just happy that you're out hunting and fishing. I do think that's a minority of people still. I think that is over-exaggerated. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've been streaming for 3 years. Nobody's ever come into my stream and said, I can't watch you because you're not fishing with a boat. Nobody's ever done that, and I stream every day. So, again, while I think that there is that group of people, that's usually social media people trying to rage bait people, posting 10-second videos about one side or the other, like I did with the live scope video, pro live scope video to make the point, and then it blew up like a Christmas tree. And I did it just to make a point. Rage bait videos have been around in social media forever. And they're getting worse because these social media companies are getting tighter and tighter with the algorithms because we have more and more content creators. They don't want to pay everybody. So that's why they do these rage bait videos. They could care less about the sport. They could care less about who they hurt. They could care less about what effect that has on the fishing and social media community and on social media. The fact that Twitch is down is a prime example of that. When they were just playing video games, everybody watched, right? When they started running 20-minute ads and just chatting, and yeah, the viewership went into those 5 groups. Yeah, I do mine all too. That is where we're at. That is where we're at, right? When everybody becomes toxic, everybody other categories become toxic, and therefore everybody's doing rage bait videos. I do more viewership talking about the fishing and hunting industries and when I go fishing. I go fishing because I know I'm a fishing channel and I still have to get footage and teach you guys how to fish and hunt. But that doesn't mean that I want to do that. I would much rather be doing that than this. But I save the days that are bad weather or whatever else where I can get more footage, with the good days of fishing weather for that. Because I know I'll make up my viewership doing this or a TikTok shop live like we did the other day. It is more interesting when you complain about the industry. And again, the reason we have so many negative content creators, and I'm more positive than most, you guys know that. Except I did hate on Luz the other day, and I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm just being reality. I've never had a good Luz reel in my life. I've had a Mach 2. I've had high-end Luz reels. Even my Johnny Morris that was originally made by Luz broke. So I don't have a very good love-lost relationship with Luz. I did catch a 6-pound bass in my Luz Hyperspeed. I still have that. But in my experience with Luz, for their price in the pound, I am not a fan. If I could buy a Shimano with a digital reel over something that's non-digital and pay the same amount, I'm going to buy the digital reel every day of the week. And they make nice stuff. I'm not saying it's junk, but what I'm saying is for the perception of what they are given by everybody and the reality of what they live in, they're junk. But again, perception and reality. That's why we're talking about perception and reality, right? I cannot tell you how many times when I first started fishing, when they saw me with that Corrado DC, they thought, "Oh, I can't relate to you. I can't relate to you. You catch fish with a digital reel, even though I have 10 digital, non-digital reels. I can't relate to you. I used to tournament fish. I know how to catch fish. I've been fishing. And I used to guide for a few years on Table Rock. Yeah, let's just assume I don't know what I'm doing. Let's just assume that and hate and whatever else. And in social media, that happens all the time, guys. People have nothing better to do with their lives. People are toxic on social media because they know they'll never meet that person in real life. So they can just say whatever they want. And they believe in that. And like I said, I've never taken criticism in a bad way. I just laugh at it. Like, I know I'm going to have regular followers. I know I have enough that people are always going to come back. And I pride myself in that. And I make sure that I answer everybody's questions, just like I answered Parker's the other day about spinning reels. I sent him a detailed message about all the spinning reels that I recommended. I recommended the Abu Garcia Revo Rocket 3. I recommended the Stratic. And I recommended the Hypermac from Luz, the spinning reel version. And I'm not gonna tell you guys stuff I don't believe in. There's no purpose in me when I do a TikTok shop or when I tell you guys something I believe in. There's no purpose for me to go, hey, this is great when it's not. That will come back on me. The social media travels fast. If I get on here and recommend a product for somebody and then people don't like it, that'll come back on me. There's no purpose in that. So, again, and I don't know why I don't have my lights. I gotta get going here, Wild Thing. I gotta figure this out. I was up late last night sick, so just bear with me. But I ate too much salmon at dinner and had heartburn all night. But again, you just have to realize that when people tell you stuff on social media, take it with a grain of salt. Find the content creators that you trust in the fishing industry that you've seen either catch fish or have taught you how to catch fish, and you've actually gone out and done it. And that's how you avoid all the rage baiters. Because there's going to be a lot of rage baiters. And there's a hunting and fishing industry, especially now with the Sitka gear crap, and if somebody's using a crossbow or not. Again, if you're using a rifle, then there's no problem. You should not have any problem with somebody using a crossbow. You shouldn't have a problem anyway, as long as they're following the regulations. Enough is enough, right? Move on with your life. Like, there's plenty of deer. Calm down. Most places are overpopulated, even with CWD. Calm down. Now, the ones that really make me mad are the people like in Michigan. They're baiting for deer when it's illegal. Okay, so when you don't have any deer left, and you're mad that next year Michigan bans hunting like they're planning on doing because of all the people this year, they're seriously considering banning deer hunting in Michigan next year. When that happens, it is on them. Again, you can't complain about there being a lack of deer or a lack of fish or a lack of bass or lack of crappie if every time they pass a conservation law, you get mad. You don't have to like the law. The laws are not there for you to like. Most people don't like any laws. If it was up to most Americans, we wouldn't like any laws. But we have laws to protect the environment. We have laws to protect the sport for future generations. If you don't like that, then you're not a real conservation person. You're not a real outdoorsman. It's not about the Sitka gear. I could care less what gear you use, as long as you're out enjoying the outdoors. But when you sit there and tell me you care about conservation and you're the ones out there feeding deer illegally for hunting, and you're out there taking more home fish than your limit, then I don't want to hear your excuse. Because your excuse next year will be, well, we can't deer hunt now because they shut it off in the state of Michigan. And I'm going to laugh at you and say, that's what you get. I'm not going to feel sorry for you. That's how it works. And that's like the guy in Pennsylvania, right? We talked about him the other day. I can't even imagine the conversation with the officer. And was like, oh, well, officer, the dog got mad at me for not giving me treats. Like, how do you break that many safety laws in 20 seconds? I still do not understand for the life of me how you could do that. Not know the gun was loaded on a shotgun. Not know the safety wasn't on. Not know that you had your back turned to a gun that was loaded. And then know that your dog was going to come in the room and jump on the bed. I still cannot figure out how that group of events could happen. And that's why I don't feel sorry for these people. I'm glad he's okay, but I don't feel sorry for him. It's the people that don't wear on their bass boat when they tell you to wear your kill switch and you don't wear your kill switch and you fall in the water and the boat drives off or you get hit by your own boat. That's on you, brother. You were told. Right? We done warned you. Every conservation channel warns people every year. I just saw a hunter or a kayaker warning people about wearing their life preservers in this cold water and wearing special gear for the cold water. I guarantee you in a couple weeks somebody will drown in a kayak. Freezing to death, some version of unaliving themselves. I guarantee you I will get something on my feed with that happening. And we do it not to get bait, not to get people upset. You know, when Slick Johnson warns people about the wakeboarders, he does it in a joking way to take it into account, right? He's rage baiting to get the message across. People don't listen to the people that have been in the outdoors forever. And then when they get hurt, they get mad at us, like it's our fault. Well, you told me to go out and enjoy the outdoors and I broke my leg. Look, if you can't follow the rules, if you can't follow the conservation laws, I don't feel sorry for you. I can't help you then. Right? If you're the guy that refuses to wear orange and then gets shot by a hunter, I don't know what to tell you. Because I saw a guy yesterday on a motorcycle with no helmet on. I'm like, okay, when you fall off that bike or somebody hits you, maybe he's really good at riding motorcycles, but you have to take into account that other people around you may not be good at driving their vehicles. And something happens to that man, God forbid, I don't feel sorry for you. You know you should be wearing a motorcycle helmet. And in Missouri, you don't have to wear one. But to me, that would be a common sense thing. If I'm on a motorcycle that goes 100 miles an hour, I think I'm going to wear a motorcycle helmet. May not protect me, may not make a difference, but it might save my life. I think I'm going to wear the motorcycle helmet. I don't care if they look cool or not. And this is an issue in 2025 in the outdoors. When I go out in the outdoors, I got thermals. I got those Panda hand warmers, for example. I don't care if they look cool. I got Panda hand warmers. 2025, baby, I'm going to be out there trout fishing. My hands aren't going to be cold. I don't care if they look like pandas. They got 20 hours of battery life. I'm keeping my hands warm. I'm not going to get frostbite. I'm going to have layers of gloves. I'm going to have everything I need because I know to be safe in the cold weather. I'm out there drinking coffee feeling like it's 60 degrees, enjoying the trout fishing because I know that I'm layered up and taking proper precautions. But when people don't want to listen, when people don't, they think they know everything, to the people that do know everything or knew a lot more than they do, then this is why we end up in the situations we're in. This is why. And then I got to see another video come across the screen about somebody getting hurt or unalived because they didn't listen. And that's hard as an outdoor content creator. Believe me, it is. Especially if we spend time like I do making videos to tell you guys to be careful. I cannot tell you, growing up in Missouri, how many boating accidents I've seen in my life. And the fishing industry doesn't do enough to tell these people. I mean, they do because they teach boating and fishing classes and hunting and fishing classes and hunting classes with gun safety. But until people put the stuff into practice, I don't know what to tell them. And I can't help them in the fishing industry. You know, when people see me wear sunglasses while I'm out fishing, I'm protecting my eyes from the sun. I'm protecting my eyes if the lure comes back at me, because I have a hook come back at me, no chip off. I always have hoodies on or something underneath so that if the hook comes flying back at me, it'll hook into the coat instead of me. We don't do this stuff because it's fun. We do it because we don't want to get hurt. And when I make that video, believe me, I tried to make that hunting video in Pennsylvania, make jokes about the dog video, but I was so angry when I heard that story because it's people like that that ruin it for everybody. These deer hunters up in Michigan, once they start keep doing what they're doing and they don't have hunting next year, it'll be on them. Because if you think the state of Michigan, a liberal state as it is, who doesn't like guns as it is going to put up with that, yeah, have fun when you got no deer to shoot. If your state tells you baiting is illegal, baiting's illegal. I hate to tell you. If your state tells you this is the hunting season, then that's the hunting season. You don't have to like it. Nobody likes conservation laws, but you follow them to set the example for the other people. Because even if you've been in the outdoors your whole life and you know what you're doing and the harm you're doing or vice versa and know what your limit is, that doesn't give you the right to be above somebody else. It's everybody's right in that state to enjoy the hunting and fishing. It's everybody's right who comes from out of state that pays for those out-of-state hunting licenses or out-of-state fishing licenses. Which, by the way, when you go to another state to fish or hunt, and you're not from that state, they always charge you more. A lot more. So again, common sense, folks. Common sense. I am tired of seeing reports on my feed of somebody getting hurt in hunting and fishing. As much as this happens, and as much as social media is out there telling you not to do certain things, whether it's going 100 miles an hour in your bass boat in the wake area or whatever, you shouldn't never need a reason. And I used to tournament fish. You should never need a reason to go that fast in a bass boat anyway. That's another story for another day. We'll get into that on another day in the fishing industry. But again, people just have this mindset of, well, it won't happen to me. I won't get hurt. I won't have a misfire on my rifle just because I didn't check to see if it was loaded. I didn't take the cartridge out of my gun when I left the field like I'm told to, and then it went off in the car and hit somebody. That won't happen to me. And trust me, if you've been in the outdoors as long as me, you have heard this story to somebody in your life somewhere. And that's why the fishing and hunting industry takes the backlash it does. It's from the people in Michigan who can't follow the baiting laws. It's from the people in Pennsylvania that don't know to lock their gun up and take the safety off or put the safety on the gun when they're cleaning it and don't know to make sure there's no ammo in it. Because if you left the safety on, at least if you had ammo in it, the safety would have kept you alive or kept you from being shot by your dog. But that's the kind of stuff that makes me mad. And I don't get mad on my channel very often. I am usually a cool hand Luke guy. But I do care when people make the industry look bad with stuff like that. But the choices we make are the choices we make. Yeah, that's literally what every lure at Bass Pro. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, $20. Is that what you're talking about? How I got the hoodie? Yeah. No, I'm telling you, it's getting there though. I know Trump just lowered a bunch of his tariffs. Hopefully that makes it a little bit better. But some of these lures are getting outrageous. I was telling a buddy of mine, how am I paying for this same XD lure from Rapala that I paid for 10 years ago for half the price? It's the same lure. It's the same lure. Exactly. Yep. By the way, I was telling people how much I love your name, Ghost. I was like, because I grew up watching, not grew up, I was kind of old watching it in college, but Space Ghost Coast to Coast. So I was laughing so hard when I saw your fishing show or fishing name because Ghost of Space Coast Fishing was hilarious. I could not help myself when I saw that. I was laughing literally so hard. So shout out to you and your wonderful name. Your call sign on social media. That is, I tell you what, that is the coolest one I've seen in a while. But I grew up fishing in Florida. I used to fish for sharks in Florida when I would go down there with my grandmother. Yeah. Again, safety, guys, common sense. And if you don't know how to do something that involves sharks, don't do it. Learn from somebody first. You know, these guys that don't want to take hunting licenses and break the laws on that, we know, right? We know. See, like people that are in the outdoors know why people come down on the site. We know why. All right. And the reason they do that is because of idiots like that in Pennsylvania who let the dog shoot them. Like, I just, again, we get it. We're trying to reel these people in too. We're trying to get these people to understand and practice proper safety. It's like I tell people to always have a first aid kit in their tackle box. Why do I say that? Because when I was younger and I went catfishing with my buddy, I had a Dexter serrated knife. If you've never used a Dexter knife, you know they're sharp, especially serrated ones, because you can't feel them when they go into your hand. And I was cutting bait with a cut bait knife that was designed for cutting bait. I thought, oh, nothing could go wrong. I'm not looking. And I sliced right across my hand. And I had no bandages with me. So I had to take a sock off and wrap it up because it was gushing everywhere and rush to the hospital, get it sterilized and everything else. So when I tell you that we have done stuff like this, we have. And that's why we tell you not to do it. We're not doing that for our health. We're not going, hey, I want to lecture you and sound like a Karen today. No. I'm tired of seeing people get hurt come across my feeds. I'm tired of seeing people go flying out of a bass boat and end up in the hospital. It's nuts. You know, here in Missouri, we have a lot of ticks and we have a lot of copperheads and water moccasins. Every year I put out a video in October about the warnings of copperheads and not try to pick them up like Steve Irwin. And every year I get somebody who picks up a snake thinking they're Steve Irwin and gets bit and ends up in the hospital. We have copperhead bites every year. It's so bad in the Midwest. And in Illinois, they've got a place where a bunch of snakes. It's called Snake Road. And you can actually go there and look at snakes if you want to study them. But during the fall, a lot of snakes make their babies. And they're aggressive. So they close down that road for like a week or two. Again, we don't tell you this because it's just, I almost stepped on a copperhead once. It was not a fun experience. I never want to go through that again. Right? So trust and believe when we tell you this stuff, it is to keep you safe. And we make mistakes. We lack. Sometimes we're out there filming or whatever, not paying attention. You guys saw me fall a couple weeks ago, right? And I saw the ground was dry, and I thought, oh, I could stand there anyway, and I lost that battle and hit the ground, right? So I even make those mistakes. This isn't to sound like somebody who doesn't make mistakes in the outdoors and getting hurt. But I like to call those things to question to let you know to stay safe so that I don't have to see you come across my social media feed every day. Oh my God, one of my buddies got hurt and flew off a boat. I'm tired of seeing, especially with young folks. Like you are just now into the start of your life. Like I don't need to see you guys in wheelchairs because you don't follow fishing and hunting regulations. By the way, Parker, if you're still here, I need to know, did you go out and buy your spinning reel yet? Parker asked me the other day, and I'm not going to let him off the hook until he tells me he got his nice spinning reel. He's every day he comes in here, he is going to get the. Did you buy your nice fish spinning reel yet? No, and I get people that when I tell them to buy a nicer spinning reel, they get mad. I'm like, no, I'm telling you because I know that it works. Man. Yeah, it's that time of year to winterize the boat, isn't it? Yep. I am so glad I don't have a boat anymore. That is one headache I am glad I don't have anymore. I didn't mind doing it, but the amount of time you spend getting the boat out there, getting the boat back in, getting the boat winterized, getting the boat filled with gas, getting the boat, you lose so much fishing time. Like I was quick at it because I used to fish tournaments, but I hated it. I hated it. That's like my girlfriend. She'll be like, "Why do you tie your lures on at night?" And that comes from when I tournament fished. I always tie my lures ready to go, knowing the weather patterns. I don't ever go out there fishing and tie lures on when I get out there fishing. I always do it before I go to save efficiency and not, waste time fishing that I could be fishing. But winterizing the boat is never fun. I am glad I don't have to do that anymore. I am truly, truly, truly glad that I don't have to do that anymore. And I live for that. I live for that I don't have to do that anymore. I'm glad that I just do social media now. I don't tournament fish anymore. I know people think it's this great thing. It is when you're winning. It's not so much fun when you're losing. And it's not so much fun when you're spending that kind of money just to lose. It's only fun when you're winning. Trust me. I take that back. It's fun meeting people that enjoy fishing as much as you, that are as competitive as you. It's fun. It's not all bad dealing with sponsors. I had plenty of sponsors that I love to deal with, didn't have any problems. Once you get them, they're just like, yeah, here you go. Here's more stuff. Right. But the headache becomes the drama you deal with. It's the cheaters. It's this guy did this. Oh my God. These tournament anglers, some of them act like 12-year-olds. And that was the part I didn't like. But everybody ever asked me, why don't you do it anymore? That's why. It's the stupid drama stuff that comes with it. Social media I can deal with because I'm never going to meet these people. And if I meet these people in public, I can walk away from them. But like in the tournament world, and I would never walk away from nice people. I'm talking about the people that are just jerks to be jerks. But, in that world, meet some interesting characters. That's like when I used to guide on Table Rock for a year or two with my buddy because he had a boating business. He'd ask me to come along and, run a boat out there and take people fishing. You think that wouldn't be a hard job? Oh, trust and believe. The people you deal with doing that is a whole nother level. And I'm not talking if they're bad at fishing or whatever and you're trying to make them better. I'm talking about the people that show up 45 minutes late and they want a refund. An hour late and they want the refund. They still want to go. It's like, no, I have somebody else to take out. You done missed your spot. I'm sorry. And if I could, we still did it. But it's like, I'm not rewarding bad behavior. Like, on spinning reels, you should never put braid. Just make it a rule. I am not a fan of braid on spinning reels. You can, but braid should be going on your baitcasters, never on spinning reels. Baitcasters are better designed for heavier line. So if you have a baitcaster, that's where your braid should go if you're going to do it. Now, if you want to be really super finessey and you want to tie like a lead, you can do that. Just make sure the same diameter of line that you're using for your braid. So you know how braid, monofilament, and fluorocarbon all have different diameters. Make sure that your lead is the same diameter version of the braid you're using. Otherwise, your lure is not going to do what you want it to do. You can look at the conversion factors online. They'll tell you, it's like 1/8 inch of this is the same as, or 20 pound of this is the same as this length. So do that. But I would never, ever, 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 ever put braid on spinning reels. People do. It's wrong. I don't worry about it. The reason I don't like braid is you're going to sacrifice things with your spinning reel. You're going to sacrifice things. If you go low as 10, you're probably okay. But again, I feel like when you're finesse fishing, yes, you want your sensitivity with the braid. I get that. But 10-pound braid in certain areas, rocky areas, is going to fray. You're going to lose fish. You're much better not doing that. Again, I know there's variances to this. I know some people love to do it. I know tournament anglers that swear by it. And I'm going to tell you now, for every one time it works, twice it probably backfired. And again, I understand why. Again, and then I have to, and what you have to remember is when I'm talking to people, some people tournament fish, some people don't. I have a wide range of people that come through my room, different experience levels, things like that. When I recommend, one thing to one person, the other person's going to go, yeah, but you can. Yes, I know you can. I'm a preference guy, and I do not think that I should put any braid on anybody's spinning reel until I know they're using the spinning reel correct. And I know Parker does, but what I'm saying is I keep it. I in my expert years of teaching people how to fish, I know what they're going to screw up when I teach them things, right? Like I know that they're going to do this, or this wrong. So that's why I try to err in the side of caution, because then the next thing I need is somebody to go out and buy a $300 spinning reel and break it because they put it on the improper line. And, then I'm getting a message in my message box. Yeah, for saltwater, for sure. Bigger animals you're catching. And again, if I'm fishing freshwater for bass, if I'm going to use braid, it's going to be on a bait caster, because bait casters typically have less casting distance. So I want the heavier line on the bait caster anyway. I'm not going to, that'll add some casting distance to it, and the drag systems are better for braided line than spinning reels. It's the drag systems that's the problem. And sometimes your braid can actually cut into your spinning reels. And mess them up. So that's why I don't recommend braid, especially if you're buying a brand new expensive spinning reel. Not at first. If you want to do it later, fine. But because of what the purpose of this, especially this time of year when it's colder water, you want that stretch of your line for that fish to run with that hook longer. So, because the bite may not be that good. Yes, you'll feel the bite with the braid, but the braid may fray on the ice or whatever you're fishing around. And I know that Parker lives in a place where there's a lot of rocky bottoms and man-made reservoir lakes, kind of similar to Missouri. So that's why I recommend not doing the braidless spinning reels. Again, it's a preference thing. And I know a lot of tournament anglers teach braid fluorocarbon. And yes, there are times that works, but there are times that works against you. And I don't feel like spending 3 hours going over the differences. Just take my word for it. I always feel like tournament anglers, when they teach stuff, they teach it for what they know and not for what the person that's watching it knows. Does everybody understand what I mean when I say that? Somebody that's new to fishing or whatever, they teach it like everybody that's new to fishing can just go take a bait caster and throw it braid on a spinning reel, or a bait caster and not tangle it up or cast it wrong or break it off. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody that picks up a bait caster their first 15 times, 100 times are going to be able to use it correctly. I know that. So I'm not going to put braid on there at first unless I know they're topwater fishing and they have to, and it's a must. I'm going to avoid that like the plague because I know they're probably going to tangle it up the first 15 times they do it. And then they're going to hate me because the reel didn't work correctly. Then they're going to hate me because the line got tangled. It's going to be my fault, right? That's why when I do tip videos, a lot of times I'll do generic versions of tip videos. For example, I did the video about fishing in the cold, right? Yes, are there times where you speed up you can fish fast in the winter? Sure. You can fish fast in the winter when the bait fish are moving because of higher pressure or lower pressure, warmer days. You can move fast because of windy days. You can fish quicker. I know that. But in a 30-second video, I'm going to explain the general overall purpose, because I know that if I explain every single thing to that video, it's going to confuse people. So then in the next video, I do when it's warm outside and it's a low pressure day, I'll be like, here's when you fish quick in the wintertime. Right? That's when I make those videos, that's the purpose I do that for. Like there's times you'd fish a spinnerbait really fast in the wind in the wintertime. You just get a Colorado bladed spinnerbait that moves slower, but puts up a lot of churn. In the wintertime, when the fish are moving shallow because of the wind, to chase the bait fish, you can get away with throwing a Colorado blade spinnerbait. You wouldn't throw a willow blade, but you'd throw a Colorado blade. So there are variances to it. And that's why I spend so much time explaining stuff, even if I beat a dead horse, even if people leave the room, because I want to make sure they get the whole purpose of the live. You know, people time, and I messed up all the time. I still mess up. By the way, Mike Iconelli just put out a really good thing about blade baits. Okay, so if you don't know what a blade bait is, it's a metal bait that looks like a crankbait. Okay, it's called a blade bait. Some people will actually call it a metal bait, but its actual technical name is a blade bait. You can get them at any tackle shop. They are great right now. If you can tie one on, get one and use one and fish it deep. They work really well right now, this time of year. So look them up online. They're called blade baits. You could probably find a YouTube video teaching you how to use it. I used to catch fish on them all the time this time of year. But he was talking about how you can fish it when it's warm and still catch fish. It's predominantly used for the cold. Yes, you can, but it works so much better when it's cold. If you live in the Midwest where that metal blade bait can bounce off the bottom and it's a heavier bait that you can cast out farther, especially if you fish from the bank. I used to go to trout parks where you could catch trout or bass, and I would catch trout. I'd catch like 5 bass and 7 trout every time I use one. Like, it works. So, again, spoons are another one. People have given up on spoons. Spoons catch fish. Oh, trust and believe, spoons catch fish. Tube baits. Tube baits is another one that we use for smallmouth a lot. But they do catch fish, other species of fish too. So, again, just because a tactic is older, what you want to get away from is just because of a tactic is older, it may not be the new innovative thing. Doesn't mean there aren't times where those old stuff things still work and outfish the new stuff things. The more versatility, Scott Martin talks about this, the more versatility you have, the better off you are. He's absolutely right. You want to catch more fish, know how to do them all. Know how to do every lure, know how to do every line, know how to do every rod size you're supposed to have, know every ratio in and out, know every rig in and out, know as much as you possibly can. You will catch more fish just by knowing more. The only problem to that is where you have to learn to fine tune that is when you know as much as I do, or a tournament angler does, and you're like, oh God, am I overthinking this? Like sometimes you got to reel yourself back in. That's where it can work against you. But you got to believe, and that's why I was talking about confidence in your baits. Whether you get skunked or not, believe in what you're trying to do. And the next time you know, okay, well, I tried that on this high pressure day and this cold, it didn't work. I got to do this. Because some lakes will vary in tactics based on their, bait fish they have or what the bass feed on. Like I got a lake by me, got a ton of frogs in that lake. I had topwater fish there 100 times, topwater frogs. I've caught 1 bass, topwater frog fishing, because the water's murky. And the frogs there must not taste very good because I see a ton of frogs and very few fish eat them. And some frogs' defense mechanism tastes bad on purpose. So that's probably why these bass don't eat topwater frogs there. But until I figured that out, I was topwater frog fishing. I'm like, hey. And somebody told me, hey, don't ever topwater frog fish here. It never works. He goes, I know what you're thinking. It never works. And he was right. I've caught 1 6-pound bass on the 50, 60 times I've topwater frog fish there, even on high pressure days. So again, knowing the area you're fishing based on the bait fish matters too. Again, the more, like I said, the more knowledge you get, even though we have electronics, if you're going to fish like a local BFL and you have electronics that'll tell you the map, don't just rely on the electronics. Get yourself from Bass Pro a $5 topography map and memorize that stuff before you even go. Memorize as much as you can, the places you want to fish, and look at that map and go, hey, I want to fish here, 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 and here. And then set your waypoints to that, and then check them out. Save yourself time in your practices because you've done the experience. A lot of guys will just go out and they'll go, okay, I'm going to set this point. I'm going to attack here. But the real guys will know that beforehand, before they even go out and practice. But again, it's just a lot. Like I said, the best way to get better at fishing and hunting is just knowledge. The more knowledge you suck in, the better off you are. Even if you do something incorrectly, if you're matching the weather pattern for that time of year, you're much more likely to catch fish. Even if your movement sucks, even if you hold the rod in the improper position and fish it incorrectly, you are still more likely to catch fish using the proper bait or color or size for that time of year. That's why I spend so much time on it. That's why I spend so much time on it. Because I've learned fishing for 40 years, some people are going to be really good at the technique part. Some people are going to be really good at the matching the color part. And some people are good at both. But if you know both sides, you can at least get by to catch plenty of fish and enjoy the sport. Oh, but that's why, like, tournament anglers, people don't understand why they get so antsy when they teach stuff. There is a right and wrong way with bass fishing. There is a right and wrong way. So when they teach it, it's not to be mean or make you feel like you're wrong. It's just there is a textbook technical way you're supposed to do certain things. And they defend it much like a professional golfer would in a golf swing, right? And that's why they get upset. They don't mean to come off as arrogant or whatever else. They just don't know how to talk to people that are new to fishing. I've been in retail for 25 years. I have sold fishing stuff before. I have done TikTok shop. I understand when I sell somebody to something or to an idea, I try to lower it to a way that they can understand and not be offended by how I say it. Just like a baseball player with a bat swinging at a baseball. There's a proper technique you're supposed to use. When I teach about crankbait fishing, I tell people they have shorter rods, not longer ones. Because you're casting accurately towards logs. You're not fishing 80 feet off the bank. And if you're in a bass boat, you're fishing 80 feet off the bank. You don't need something to cast far. You need it to cast where you're trying to fish. Oh, the hate I would get for that. You're not telling them to cast far? No, I'm not telling them to cast far. Because I want them to cast where they're fishing and the correct spots to fish. Casting distance is the most overhyped part of fishing that I have ever seen in my entire life. I don't give a bleep how far you cast. That doesn't make you a better fisherman, bro. I hate to tell you. And the reason I say that is good fishermen don't need to cast far to catch fish. If you're using proper technique, that fish will come to you. And you'll notice I don't post a lot of my fish catches. This year's been bad. But even when I was catching a lot of fish, guys that catch fish on a regular basis don't have to post videos showing people they know how to fish. I don't even have to go fishing, and I got people watching me. You know why? Because they know what I'm talking about works. They know that I have taught the correct way. Now, very few people care about fish that you catch on social media. For every video I do that is actually showing me fishing or catching a fish, I do get viewership on that once in a while. But the best video viewership I get is like how-to videos or, talking about a controversial issue in fishing or hunting. Those are my best viewed videos. And they have been unless I do a funny video. Those some tend to do well. But if I just show you catching a fish, nobody cares. Because they can do that too, right? But if you make the video funny or you make the video relatable to people, then people will watch it. But again, worrying about, and I tell everybody this, if you're doing social media and you're worried about your views, literally all I do is check my analytics every day. I look what's working, I look what's not, I move on. The two keys to social media is going live every day and posting as many videos as you can every day. If you do those two things and use the features to social media is trying to promote at that time, if you do those three things, you'll be fine. You'll do enough views to get by. A reason to be in the room. That's it. Stop worrying about how long the video is. Stop listening to these people that are trying. By the way, those people that are trying to get you to watch their content will tell you like I do 1 7-second video a day just to get viewership, right? That's my advertisement channel, funny video, whatever. The rest are just tactical videos that teach you how to fish. And I listen to the AI once in a while when it tells me to talk about a certain thing. Like staying on topic helps. That'll typically feed more people through the algorithm. But again, in the fishing and hunting industry, if there's so many of us doing this, just post every day. Act like you know what you're talking about and make people laugh. You'll be good. Don't overthink the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. You'll be good. The wheel works just fine as it is. Right? Make cool edits once in a while. Make people laugh. You're good. Some of the people, the best hunting and fishing content creators, don't even fish anymore. They're just up there making people laugh. Or making fun of a law in a conservation video. Don't worry about that. Just worried about being in front of the camera. And again, don't worry about what people think. Like, if they're commenting on your video, it's still a comment, brother. Don't worry about it. They just say thank you for the comment and move on. Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Oh, some of my best videos, I did a video of me laying on the couch. 7-second video, did 28,000 views with no promotion. And all I was talking about was a fun fact in Missouri fishing history, or it was about Bass Pro, some minor thing. And it went... I made a video about defending live scope because everybody hates live scopes. So they were just like flaming me all the way through. The video went way up. And then my cool super edited videos where I fishing and catch a fish. Oh no, nobody cares. It could be a 12-pound bass. Nobody cares. Yeah, so I have learned. Well, look at all the podcasts, outdoor podcasts that are on YouTube. Right? How many of those guys are actually fishing? They're just talking about fishing. Even tournament anglers, they're just sitting back and forth talking about the sport, and they're just, people watch those. And that's why I laugh. That's what I had to learn, because I used to do the same thing. I used to only post videos when I catch a fish. That was it. Me fishing, that was it. Nobody watched that. But when I make fun of live scope, or I make fun of where fishing industry is, now, I guess it helps me because I've been in the industry before on both sides, retail and the social media world, and I've done tournament fish. So I guess it helps me a little bit more because people believe what I say. But I do think, if you're just talking about... The problem with social media and how algorithms work is you don't really get a luxury to be creative anymore. Somebody else has done it in some form or fashion. That's what kind of makes social media not fun anymore. I enjoy it because I have a lot of people that love to fish just as much as I do. And whatever you do on social media, make sure it's something you're passionate about and have some knowledge of. You don't have to have the best knowledge of it, but some knowledge. And just be personable and people will listen. But if you come off like a lecturing Karen, then people aren't going to watch. Unless they want to come in and flame you for being a lecturing Karen. Then they'll watch. If they want to come in and just argue with you to be arguing for the sake of arguing, then they'll watch. And, yeah. There's a lot of people in 2025 learning to run their mouth about things they know nothing about. That is a thing. And then social media has always been that way to some degree. People say it hasn't, but it has. Everybody wants a voice, and I've learned in 40 years that not everybody needs a voice. There are plenty of people that probably would be better off never having a voice, in all likelihood. But to each their own. Yeah. I'm just ready to go fishing again. So we will be fishing tomorrow, guys. I wanted these clouds to come in I wanted the low pressure to move in overnight. It's going to start about 6 o'clock and last all day tomorrow. So I'm hoping we get some fish tomorrow, make it easier. Doesn't mean we will, but we'll be out tomorrow. I didn't get home till late last night, and I wanted to get some videos edited out for the channel on Instagram too, because we're trying to push our Instagram. So I'm busy. So I'm not doing it to be mean. I am got ready for trout season this week. Today I gotta find my tackle box. I bought some rooster tails for us to go trout fishing. But I need to get some. I need to find my tackle box. I have like trout magnet stuff in there, and I have stuff in there that wasn't cheap. So I'm like, I need to find that. And just so you guys know, that coffee cup we promoted yesterday, here it is. So anybody says I don't use the stuff I promote, I got you. Got you. The tackle box always sits in there that I use. The tackle bag I use on all my streams. You ain't gonna get me. So we're gonna be having fun though. We're gonna have fun. We'll go fishing tomorrow. We'll bass fish tomorrow. Probably be the last bass fishing trip of the year. I keep saying that, but I think this is gonna be the last one. It's wintering time. They're not gonna bite as much. I'll be lucky to get one tomorrow. So then we'll go straight into trout this weekend probably. Depending on what the weather's like. And then we'll do that for a month or two, and then I'll be bass fishing again. It's only a couple months out of the year I trout fish because the water warms up and then the bass are going again. But I do the trout fishing just to have fishing content, and they bite a little better because they're stocked. Yeah. Hence the channel name now, exactly. I changed the bio. And I did that because next year I'm wondering if I'm going to do more crappie and trout fishing. The problem with bass fishing in Missouri is we get a lot of high pressure droughts the last few years, and that slows them down tremendously. I can catch them, it's just harder. And I don't want to like bore you guys to tears if I'm out there fishing and I know they're not going to bite. Like I hate doing that. I feel like that's a wasted stream. Even if I get edited videos. And what I'll tend to do is I will edit the videos and then put a how-to. Like while I was out there, I'll do an exploratory thing and explain things that I'm out there doing. And then I'll just clip it and make a video out of it. But so usually when I go fishing, if I'm not catching fish, you're just going to get lectures about how to catch fish. Like, and then those videos will be clipped and that'll be the highlights of that stream. Or some funny moment where I fall down or something. I try to keep it pretty simple. I try to keep it pretty simple. I don't try to be something I'm not. This is the way I dress, guys. If you think I don't go out to dinner looking like this, trust and believe. I used to wear Bass Pro sandals out to dinner with my girlfriend. She used to get mad. So I'm like, all right, so give me some hey dudes that are fishing hey dudes, and that'll work. That's a compromise. So again, like I said, I had to do the boyfriend thing last night. We went out to Colton's, which is kind of like Texas Roadhouse. It's kind of like a cheap Texas Roadhouse. Really the same thing. It's just owned by somebody else. And we went out to dinner last night, and it took an hour and a half. I mean, they wanted to go to one that was in a different town, but this town was farther away than when we originally planned. So I didn't get home until about 9:30 at night because we had to go to the grocery store on the way back home. So I didn't get home till about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to go live at 10 o'clock at night to talk about fishing stuff. That doesn't seem very economical to do. It doesn't seem like it'd be, people in Japan watching me talk about bass fishing. The funny part about that is Japanese are really good at bass fishing. They are really good at it. And they love the sport in Japan. Believe it or not, they love bass fishing in Japan. So they are really good. And I like Usuri. I used to have Usuri as a sponsor. I don't know if I ever told you guys that, but there was a time I had Usuri as a sponsor when I was tournament fishing. I caught a lot of fish with Usuri lures too. That's another brand I like. The only brand I really hate in bass fishing is Lew's. I just think they're so overhyped. And I've got two right behind me. I got a Mach 2 and I got a Hyperspeed. But even when I own their higher end reels or their lower end reels, I had so many problems with them. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. But I buy them. I always buy them because I think, well, I'll buy one this time and it'll be better. Surely it will be better this time. It never is. It never is. And then I go, why am I doing this to myself? I know better. But I'm old enough to remember when Shimano just made saltwater reels. It was very rare you'd see them make a bass fishing reel. They had them, but nobody bought them. I think back to when Roland Martin was on his saltwater channel on ESPN. I used to get up every Saturday morning when they had that on. Didn't watch that. I loved that saltwater show. And I don't even saltwater fish. I'm from Missouri. I have done it before because my grandmother lived in Florida. But it's not something I get to do on a regular basis because I would probably be out there every day doing it. And there you got to pay more attention to tides. Where here it's water level, but there it's tide and saltwater content you got to pay attention to. And so when I would watch it every morning though, and they would always have the Shimano commercials come across the screen. It was always saltwater Shimano stuff. That's what they were known for. And they're still known for. But now everybody has gone into the bass fishing world with them and they love them. And it makes sense because if you have to make a saltwater reel, if you're a saltwater reel company, it is harder to make saltwater reels than freshwater reels. And oh God, this is going to be a clip. And I'm going to be dead honest because saltwater can mess up those reels a lot easier. So you have to be really good at making reels to make saltwater reels and rods. Because if not, your paint's going to get screwed up. The reel's going to get screwed up. Not every reel is good for saltwater or every reel is good for freshwater. You got to have the proper gear for the proper type of thing you're doing. But it is funny, like a lot of industry, it's so funny now to see companies that were not popular when I started fishing and vice versa. When I first started fishing, Quantum was actually a popular company. Quantum was top of the line fishing reels at one time. You guys laugh at that now. You'd say, no way, Wild Thing. I said, yes. Their baitcasters were popular, and they were a well-known fishing company. People used to love Quantum fishing reels at a time. Yeah, they need a lot of seals. But Quantum used to be a really big bass fishing company. Now, nobody buys Quantum reels anymore. I don't know anybody who does. You might buy their cheap Bill Dance stuff or whatever, but nobody buys, like they did back in the day, Quantum fishing reels. That used to be a really well-known company. A lot of times what happens is a fishing company gets bought out by a bigger fishing company that sells junk. Because so many people aren't willing to pay more money for fishing reels anymore. So you'll get this really, really good fishing brand that's been good for years, and they get bought out by a bigger company that sucks at making fishing gear, but they use the name to sell fishing gear. And then what ends up happening is that people stop buying that fishing gear because they don't know that it's made by somebody else. But once they start getting it, they assume it's because of the original company. That's going on a lot right now in the fishing world. Dobbins Rods is going through this. People are telling me, I'm getting messages all the time now. I used to recommend Dobbins Rods when they first came out because I really thought for the price they were good rods. And then they got bought out by somebody who makes junk. And even the employees are messaging me like, don't tell people these are good anymore. They're junk. And I'm like, really? And I got one and it broke. I was like, okay. Now I see why you're telling me this. But that happens sometimes to us fishing content creators. I get sponsors all the time that send me stuff like the tackle bag and whatever else. And I'd be like, well, when I was growing up, that was a good company. So I have to go back and look and go, oh, it's not a good company anymore. Even if I know kind of, I'm very careful about what I promote on TikTok Shop. I'm very careful. I try to stick to coffee cups, fishing hats, things I know you can't screw up. Right? Tackle bags, those are hard to screw up. I try to stay out of the whole Cast King category. I'm not, they tried to get me to partner with them, and I was like, no. I know so many people that hate Cast King. I'm not going to do that. They've got a really nice, though, higher end Cast King reel on there. And I can't think of the name of it, and it looked pretty nice. It seemed like it would be doable. But it is funny because, like, it's so common. It is so common for and fishing and hunting content creators. Like I could just imagine if a hunting content creator on social media partners with Sitka, and they go out, they start wearing Sitka gear, and half the hunters that watch them stop watching them just because they're wearing Sitka gear. I could totally see that happening. It's so silly. It is. And that's why I made the video the other day. I said, it just because you can't afford it doesn't mean that somebody else shouldn't have the right to enjoy it. We got to stop that. Like, in the fishing and hunting, nobody cares what fishing rod you're using. I don't care. Now, if you ask me what's my opinion on it, and I'll tell you if it's junk or not, based on my opinion from tournament fishing and everything else. But I'm not going to be like, hey, yeah, what are you doing? I don't walk up to people and be like, hey, how are you fishing like that? I don't know anybody who does that. And that's why when I see these comments on these rage bait videos, I've never seen these people do this in real life. I've never been to I got a buddy who duck hunts, and I asked him, I said, does that happen out in Missouri when you're duck hunting? Waiting to go out because they have the lottery and everything else? He goes, no, we don't care what other people are wearing. As long as they're staying out of bar zone and we're hunting and they're hunting, we're good. Like, and I'm sure it goes on. I'm sure it does, but that's, I could see that happen at like Table Rock where people are out there in their bass boats and people judge on somebody in a John boat. I could see that happening. But even to that, I don't see that. Results when it crashes. I'm not bringing anybody in today. Just so you know, guys, if you want to co-stream, I'm not doing it today. Because I got to get some video edits, and I don't like to co-stream and video edit. It lags it out a little bit when I download it. I'm doing a quantum reel test at the beach saltwater. Results when it crashes, exactly. Have you ever liked quantum reels? Am I missing something there? I know you have to keep your mouth shut right now, but they're not what they used to be. Anybody who tells me quantum is better now, I just have not seen it yet. Now, maybe they're making a turn. Maybe they finally figured it out. But for the longest time, they were like cutting edge in the bass fishing world. I don't know what they were in saltwater at that time, but they were well known. That was a real company everybody respected. I never used to hear people complain about quantum. And then like 10 or 15 years ago, everybody started complaining about them. You don't even see bass fishing guys sponsored by them anymore. When's the last time you saw somebody sponsored by Quantum? I'm trying to think. I know Jimmy Houston was for a little while. I know Jimmy Houston was for a little while. But I don't know too many other people that were. Don't know too many other people that were. I mean, there was a lot at one time. But I don't think they are. I don't think the Quantum is looked at the same way they used to be. Diarrhea or Shimano? I think you mean Daiwa. I think you got spell checked there. Different versions of Daiwa, different versions of Shimano. I'm more of a Shimano guy than Daiwa. However, there are some really good Daiwa reels once you get up to like the $300-$400. When you get the higher end stuff, there's some nice ones. It's either or. Like I have a Corrado DC. I really like my Corrado DC. Haven't had any issues with it. But that is a preference thing. Like I try to avoid reels that are very similar company-wise because like when you look at Japanese reels, there's two things they don't do that American companies do. One, they don't put as many ball bearings in it because they don't believe in the smoothness thing that American bass fishermen want. They just use like 8 or 9 and they tell you to deal with it. But the other thing is the digital quality reels, I would still put Shimano over Daiwa, just barely. But Daiwa still makes really good reels. It's hard to go wrong with a Daiwa or Shimano. You have to aim really low end price-wise and get junked that way. But if you spend money, your Daiwas are going to be okay. Especially like the $150 to $300 range, even those. are pretty solid. You're okay at that range. But I've never had a problem with Daiwa reels. I prefer Shimano over Daiwa, but not by much. I've owned several. Lose, I will die on that hill. I do not like Lose. I have had really high-end Lose reels. I've had really junky ones. In terms of fishing reels, stay away from Lose. I don't know what happened. I know they got bought out by somebody, and I think that's what did it. But they are not the same. They are not the same. I just got an unstable connection warning for some reason. I'm indoors. I had a lot of people in here. Well, not a lot, but a lot for my, I guess that's what happened. But stay away from Lose. I have 2 Lose. All Penn except for the 2 test quantums exactly. Penn makes really good saltwater reels. But I quantum. I'm going to go to Bass Pro today and see if they have any quantum reels. I can't remember if they even still sell Bass Pro or Bass quantum reels. I know they sell the Bill Dance cheap quantum reels and stuff like that, but I'm talking the higher end stuff. Do they still make high end quantum reels? Because the last time I bought one has been, I don't even know how long. I don't even know how long. It is funny because I would love to get people's opinion on this. Because nobody buys them anymore. They used to be really good reels. Years ago, they made really good reels. That one has fallen off like a lead balloon out of the sky. Quantum. That's like people that own Fluger reels. And they're like, I got a President Fluger reel. I'm like, you don't have a Fluger reel then. Not the same thing. Up the price. Get the better ones. The better ones are nicer. Get away from those cheap ones. That's not the same thing. And I'm not hating. I'm just being honest. They're not the same thing. Not the same thing to buy a $50 reel that it is to buy a $300 reel. In most cases. It's not the same quality. You can still catch fish with them, but they're not the same quality. But it is funny, though, because Penn reels are good reels. I don't ever hear... Do people really hate on Penn reels? Are there people in the saltwater industry that hate on Penn reels? I've never heard anybody do that one. I'm sure there's somebody. I'm sure there's that guy that hates on Penn reels. But in the saltwater community, I don't know anybody who does. I don't know anybody who does. I don't know anybody who does. But I do wonder what happened to Quantum. Because that was just like a downfall spiral. It just... I think what happened is they tried to make cheaper reels because nobody was buying their more expensive ones. And when they made their cheaper ones, a lot of people, because they partnered with Bill Dance or whoever, saw they were pieces of junk. And then they were like, just turned off them altogether. And that's why Lew's and Mock's are separating. You guys heard about this, right? Lew's and Mock, they want them to be 2 different companies because they want the Mock to be their cheaper stuff and Lew's to be their higher end stuff, so that people will be willing to spend more on their higher end stuff. And they can separate the 2 names, which is actually pretty smart. Because if you're going to make cheaper fishing reels, the last thing you want to do is have them tied to your more expensive ones. Because when the cheaper fishing reels break, you're not going to get people to buy your more expensive ones. I'm actually surprised from a retail perspective why more companies don't do that with fishing reels and rods. Like, okay, these are, and just be honest with people. Say budget combo. They try to make them sound flashy like they're the same thing, and they're not. If I see one more content creator tell me a Mach 2 is a great fishing reel by Lew's, I'm going to scream. I have one. Okay? Yeah. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me get out my Lew's Mach 2 here. I have one. I bought this thing when I first started streaming because I'm like, I've got to lose hyperspeed. I've got some higher end reels. Let's get a cheaper reel. I can tell you all the things I don't like about my Lose Mach 2. For one, it's clunky. It's always been clunky. Compared for a cheaper reel, it's clunky. It has a lot of reel seat space. I do like the casting distance on my Lose Mach 2. It's not bad. So let's look at the rod for the Mach 2. Let's talk about that for a second. So the Mach 2 says, and this is why I don't like Lose. I want to scream and holler every time I use a Lose. And I know this is a budget Lose for people that can't afford the more expensive stuff. I get it. It says 7.3 power medium heavy action mod taper action rod, 1/2 ounce to 3/8 ounce weight. My question is, if you're going to make a fishing reel with a 7.3 rod where you would use heavier baits to cast farther, yeah, I took the line off of it. That's how much I hate this thing. I have taken this out fishing with me several occasions. Had issues. Drag system issues. Remember, mind you, I'm a tournament angler. It's not like I don't know how to use bait casters. You will see guys promote this rod and reel combo on their channel all the time. Could turn it into a curtain. I will still use it. Like, I'll put line on it and use it, but lately I took line off of it. It has a tapered action, so sometimes I'll use it for bigger crankbaits, or 7.3 is a good spinnerbait size rod. Easy baits that I know that even if it tapers and screws up and doesn't go the way it's supposed to, I can still catch fish with it. But I'm telling you, the Lose Mach 2, I mean, for the price, it's not a bad reel. Like, I'm not going to say it's well made. Like, it's at least sturdy. Like, if I drop it, I'm not worried about breaking it. But it looks cool. The reason I bought it, it was green. I thought, Lose doesn't make bad reels. I'll be fine. You hear how much that button sticks? Listen, hold on. It clicks, but it doesn't even want to click when you do it. So, again, I could oil it and it wouldn't make a difference. This thing, I've not even used enough to oil it. And every time I took it out, compared to, now, mind you, I'm comparing it against my Lose Hyperspeed that I paid more for with a St. Croix bass rod, or my Shimano, or my Johnny Morris Platinum Signature, or my Abu Garcia Revo SX. But even if I compare it to my Revo SX from Abu Garcia, it's caught tons of fish. This thing has caught me like 3 fish every time I take it out. The drag system. Take a listen to the drag system. It's there. It clicks. But you see how it sounds stuck? It doesn't sound like it's working correct. I am just not a Lose person. And this cheaper model, the Lose Mach 2, I have higher end Lose that do work and catch fish. Stay away from this. I don't know why people keep recommending this. I don't know if they're getting like free rod and reels from Lose, but I am not a Lose Mach 2 person. Again, it looks really cool. My favorite color is green. That's why I bought it. I was like, it's a good bank fishing for Texas rigs because it's a 7.3 and you always cut off a couple inches when you have a fast action rod that you're casting from the bank because you don't want to whack the pole against the ground. So it's good for like small Texas rigs, spinner baits, things that you want some casting distance, but you want some tapered fast action. But in terms of other reels that I have, I barely use it. Like, and I'm being honest. And I thought when I bought it, I was going to wear green out there fishing. When I first started streaming, I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. I'm going to have the green fishing pole with some green fishing gear. I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb. It's going to be awesome. And I've used it maybe 3 times on stream. Yeah, and I'm not kidding. Next year, I am determined to catch fish with this thing. I am determined to make it work. It doesn't break. The problem is the baitcaster will not want to balance correctly when I cast it. It'll want to burr up and not up. Yeah, exactly. See, and I'm glad I have other fishermen that come in here and tell me how much Lose suck. Even my Lose Hyperspeed that I have, I do have another Lose reel. Okay, so it's not like I'm hating on Lose out of no purpose. And it's a really cool rod and reel for topwater fishing because it's a 951 to make that bait burn across the top of the water. Caught a 6-pound bass on a spro frog with it. Let me get that out so you guys can see. I have it on a Moho bass rod, which is one of my favorite frogging sticks, because that's what it's designed for. Swim jigs and frogging sticks. That's what I use it for. But this one actually has line on it. I was doing a lesson about fluorescent fishing line so that you guys could see it. My Moho bass rod. You can see I use this one. But even with braid, it works fine. I don't have any problems with my Lew's Hyperspeed because it's a little bit more expensive. 951. It's great for frog fishing, man. Oh, because I can work that frog, catch up to it real quick if the fish bit it. But that's what it's designed for. And catching up to your baits. And for top water. So it's a great top water reel. If you guys, that's one of the few Lew's I will recommend. The Hypermag is okay. This is okay. Some of their really high-end Lew's stuff is okay. But stay away from their cheaper stuff. Get away, get away, get away. Don't ever use it. Don't let people tell you the Mach 2 is a great fishing reel. For the price, it's not a bad fishing reel. But the budget reels always have two problems. They're made of plastic. The drag system's bust. Those are your two main problems with bait casting reels. And if you use a bait casting reel and you're not up all the time, find out why. It's probably because you're not balancing it correctly to the weight of the line, and setting the drag correctly. But even to that, your higher end reels are not going to do that as much because they have better working parts. So again, it looks really cool. You notice I don't even have fishing line on it. That's what I feel about the Lew's Mach 2. That's what I feel about it. Use tournament fish. I'm not just making this up out of lack of 30 years of fishing experience. It is not my friend. I do not like it. No, Sam, I am. I do not like Lew's Mach 2 and ham. Nope, stay away. It is funny, though, because people will defend that reel and rod combo. Somebody is paying them to do that. There is no way. They have to have sponsors to lose to defend that rod and reel combo. Or they're used to fishing with cheaper budget reels, and they're not bothered by it. But like my Abu Garcia Revo SX, I've caught a ton of fish with, no problems. You know, other budget reels. I even used to own a Black Max when I was younger, and I caught a ton of bass with that. Yeah, I won't buy another Lew's. See? And see, Parker agrees with me because he feels the same way as about Lew's. The only thing they do right is their reel seats. They do have a good casting distance. That's it. That's the only thing they get right. Compared to other fishing reels, you are just fighting battles that you don't fight with the other smoother reels. And what's crazy is, I think this Lew's Hyper Mach 2 has 10 ball bearings. Hold on. And you sure as heck wouldn't tell. It tells me on here. I know it does. I'll look up and post a video because it'll drive me nuts now that I'm doing that. But I think it's got like 10. It's supposed to be smoother with all those ball bearings. Not with this one. It is the clunkiest reel you'll ever use. And like I said, my Lew's Hyperspeed, I've caught a 6-pound frog bass on. I don't have any problems with it, so I'll be fair. Yep, Shimano and Daiwa will always, I don't think always, I think eventually they'll start making generic reels that nobody likes. And then that'll hurt them just like all the other companies have done. It does swing around at a competition. They go, well, you know what? These guys are kicking our ass. What do we need to do to make this better? Right? I've seen fishing reel companies go up and down. And there's not things I don't like about Shimano. I'll give you one. They don't tend to put as many ball bearings in there. Now, I do a lot of tournament fishing. I did a lot of fishing for stream. When I was going fishing, with those high-speed reels, if I used a high-speed reel at the same ratio from Shimano versus another company that had more ball bearings, my hand was more tired from those. They're not as comfy. They're like, I don't like the Titanium that much because I think it's too big. Yeah, they will. And I don't know why people are I mean, because I remember when Lose was the shit and everybody was pushing Lose. All the tournament anglers, they were putting some money into their sponsorships. Because Shimano came on the market when they started making bass reels, boy, it was it for them. I like the SLX. I'm trying to go get it. I have a Corrado DC. Next year, I'm going to get some SLXs, some cheaper ones that I can promote for you all because TikTok Shop has them. Because they are good reels. There's nothing wrong with them. I just prefer the Corrado DC and the higher end digital reels. But the SLX will catch a fish. A lot of the others. So there's nothing wrong with them. They just aren't what the higher end. I try to say that in the nicest way possible because if I tell people I pay $600 for a fishing reel and they don't have one, they think I'm trying to outprice them or show off or be flashy. And I'm not. I'm just trying to tell you that yeah. It was $50 cheaper because of the tariffs. Yep. Now the tariffs are on that Corrado DC that I bought for like $250 is like $380 now or $350. Oh man. That's why I'm not doing TikTok Shop as much because the tariffs are just turning people off to TikTok Shop. They're not buying as much. But I do it because I still want to do it. I still want to make money from it. And again, I promote things I believe in. I don't ever promote. Like it was funny when I did the Corrado DC promotion, everybody's like, yes, buy that reel. I have 8 of them. Like that was the one thing I did not have to worry about. When I promoted the Corrado DC, I had a ton of people in here. All the fishermen were like, uh-oh, my chair's breaking. Buy that reel, buy that reel, buy that reel, buy that reel. That was the only time I ever did a promotion where nobody came in and complained about it, except for the price, because, they didn't know any better and just had to say something. But it was funny because that was the one time I promoted for a fishing company that I did not have any issue. And that's why my Bass Pro here in St. Charles, their number one seller is the Shimano Corrado DC. Their number 2 seller is the SLK or SLX, digital SLX. They have all the others. They have the Abu Garcia Beast. I like the Abu Garcia Beast if you want one that's not digital. That's a good fishing reel too. The baitcaster version. I don't know why people get upset though. I don't know why these companies don't know. Like with social media in 2025, you know if your company sucks or not. Right? Because if your company sucks, you're on social media getting bashed. Somebody is calling you out. So I don't know how they think they're going to avoid that when they make junk like that. That somebody isn't going to make a video that is crazy. Like, again, that Mach 2 does have 2 purposes. Small Texas rig for pond fishing. They made it for kids and people to afford to go bass fishing. For what it is, I'm not upset because for the price I paid, it wasn't that bad. But compared to the other stuff I have, it just doesn't even hold water. It doesn't even hold water. And I like to try new companies. I like to try 13 Fishing. I think they're junk. I don't know why people keep telling me those are good. But the problem for me is when you use tournament fish or you talk about fishing gear every day, you don't get sold on stuff. I've been in retail for 25 years. I know when they're trying to sell me something. So for me, it's hard to drop money on something I know that is worthless, right? I know it's not going to catch fish and try it out. I kind of miss the days where I could try out new stuff and be like, ooh, I want to try this. I want to try this. So that I do miss. That part of it I do miss because I don't want people to ever think that I take this very seriously. That when I talk about a lure company or a bait company, I'm not basing that on actual what I've dealt with and what other people I know have dealt with. I don't ever want people to think I am pushing something just to be pushing it. Even when I do TikTok Shop, I actually use the things that I promote. Or the hand warmers that are sitting right here for when we go fishing in the cold. I actually promote them and try them out first for a little bit before, because there is a 14-day grace period when you get something from TikTok Shop to when you have to promote it. I always try it out for a day or two before I promote it, and then I go, okay, it does work. Okay, we're good. But I don't like to promote things that are junk, and I won't. It does me more damage than them. It does me more damage than them, so that's why I don't. But again, my Corrado DC has had issues in the past. I've had issues with Johnny Morris Platinum Signature Reels. It happens, but again, you can see I don't even have on my Mach 2 any line. That is how much I hate that fishing reel. That is how much I hate lose. I have my Hyperspeed. I've caught fish with it. That one works better, but for a budget reel, even for a budget reel, this thing's a piece of junk. Like, you'll see all these content creators are like, oh, it's such a great reel. No. You're not listening to those people. You can buy better reels for half the price of what you pay for the Lose Mark II. Lose is not a good company. They used to be back in the day. They're not now. They're not the same company. I think that's happened in a lot of the fishing industry, though, because of social media, because you could go online and search the Mach 2 and see hundreds of people telling you how great this reel is. And they'll catch a fish with it, and because they caught a fish with it, they'll tell you it's a great reel. That doesn't make it a great reel, folks. If you're supposed to catch fish with a reel. What makes it a great reel is how long it lasts, how long it casts well, how long it doesn't have the drag system break. That's what you want in your bait casting reels. I don't care if it catches fish or not. I mean, I care if it catches fish or not. That's not the number one goal of me buying a nice fishing reel. If I buy a nice fishing reel, I want it to last more than 6 months. That's something people don't pay attention to. Why do I pay more for sunglasses from Oakley? Because they last longer. I can drop them, kick them, throw them. My first pair lasted 5 or 6 years. My second pair, I haven't had to even replace lenses, and I've had it for over a year. And the colorization, you know, how the polarization and all that gets messed up. I have not had any issues. I still get the same quality that I got a year ago. You know, so again, people don't pay attention to that when they buy fishing gear. They think, oh, well, this guy caught a fishing reel. He caught a fish with it, so it must be good. He clipped that video. It must be good. He didn't show you the 8 hours where he doesn't catch any fish. He shows you the 15 seconds where he caught the fish, right? So he must know what he's talking about just because he said he caught a fish. People know that they know what I'm talking about because I'll mention really specific things about really low level fishing lure companies or, you know, brands of reels or whatever that not the average person would know. So I have built up a clientele of other fishermen that watch me because of that, because they know, okay, he knows what he's talking about. I had a saltwater fisherman in here a minute ago. I don't know if he's still here or not, but he was talking to me about Penn and Quantum. And we were talking about the differences of when Quantum used to be good versus what it is now. And he knew I knew what I was talking about. When I talk about Lose, Parker and others are like, hey, I know, I hate Lose too. I'm not just basing this off of lack of knowledge. Unfortunately, I know too much about fishing, probably. It's probably unhealthy, the amount of stuff I know. And like how you see me dress on stream is legitimately how I go outside. Not kidding. If you see me in a hunting and fishing shirt here, there's a good chance that when I went out to dinner at Olive Garden or somewhere even nicer than that I had a hunting and fishing shirt on. Being from the Midwest, being from a Missouri, home of the Bass Pro, there's a lot of outdoors people in Missouri that love to hunt and fish. It's pretty big part of the culture. We take our kids out fishing in the middle of nowhere when they're 8 years old, 7 years old, 6 years old, 5 years old. I had a buddy of mine who had a kid at 5 years old could throw a bait caster and throw it like a tournament pro. Dead serious. He trained him to be able to do that. I know adults that can't use a bait caster. But That's what I'm telling you when I tell you that I know people that are just really into the sport like I was. This is who I am. I had a buddy who just passed away recently, but instead of talking politics, we would talk politics about conservation laws in Missouri and Illinois because he was from Illinois. Instead of talking about the budget, we would talk about hunting and fishing conservation laws. So this is who I am. Forget the fact of the pretty lights and the Hobby Lobby stuff that I use to decorate. Trust me, this is life. If I can go fishing, I'm out fishing. If I can go hunting, I'm out hunting. When I used to hunt, I don't hunt anymore. But I don't know that I could even do it anymore. My knees are bad, so I don't know that I could do it anymore. I don't see me climbing up in a deer stand anymore. I don't know if I can do it. I probably could if I had enough coffee in me. But I don't know. I probably couldn't do it. Which sucks. But reason I don't hunt anymore is I don't have a deep freezer. I'm in an apartment with a 2-bedroom. It's a really nice apartment for what we pay in a nice area. But my girlfriend and I have a small refrigerator that comes with the apartment and a freezer. So that freezer doesn't hold hardly anything. So if I deer hunted, it'd be a waste. The military broke me of hunting. I could understand that. I could totally understand that. I had a cousin in the Marines and a cousin in the National Guard. So I get it. And they got the full scholarship rides that you used to get during 9/11. So they were both in, they got pulled out of college to go to war in Afghanistan and Iraq. So, they had lots of fun doing that. So they both came home safe. Nobody got hurt, but they lost a lot of friends, and they weren't the same people when they came back from that. There's no way. When you see 12-year-olds walking around with AK-47s, you're not going to be the same person when you come back from that. Or bombs attached to them. You're not going to be the same person when you come back from that. So they got the help they needed, though. They're fine now. But their first year or so back, you could tell that they didn't smile as much. You could tell. They weren't the same people. But they're both married now, kids. They're good now. But, so, yeah. It's just, I would love to come on here and tell you every fishing and hunting company is good. I would love to come on here and say, go buy every reel that you can buy from every company, support the sport, support Bass Pro, support Cabela's, support all these local tackle shops. But I can't do that if it's not honest. If I don't think, I do think that I did more research on that reel they came out with from Bass Pro. It's $300 rod and reel combo that has IM50 rod, Fiji guides, and it's $300. I said, that's not a bad reel for $300 rod combo. It's just what they typically do is they take a reel that's and they put it on a really good rod, or they take a really good reel and put it on a really bad rod to get the price down lower. That's how they get you. Look them up. They're not bad rods. From what I saw, they're not bad rods. I just think that they are overhyping tournament grade rod and reel when they say that. What is a tournament grade rod and reel? Well, a tournament grade rod and reel, if you were honest about it, a lot of these tournament anglers aren't honest. They say, well, I got a Lose XP Custom Pro I use in my tournaments. Yeah, but you also have 5 Metaniums on deck, 3 Corrado DCs, 10 other digital reels. You're not being honest. But, they can't hide it anymore because of the whooshing noise. You know how you hide the noise of your whooshing noise if you don't want to annoy people on your fishing videos? Use the noise reducer. It cuts out the comes off the reel. So nobody will know you're using a Corrado DC if you want to hide it. Like if you're afraid people will judge you for it, you cut that part off. So I was really happy about that. I thought that was funny that I could cut that sound out. But yeah, I mean, just buy fishing reels. It makes sense. Like It is amazing to me how far quantum has fallen over the years. It is a truly, truly amazing thing. They were on every fishing commercial, every fishing show, every tournament angler at one point. I know Jimmy Houston was sponsored by them for a while. I don't know if he still is. I don't think he fishes tournaments anymore, does he? He retired recently. Not recently, it's been a while. But I don't know that he still is sponsored by them. But again, you'll know the more you buy fishing gear which companies work and which ones suck. Some of that is just finding out the hard way. And I talked about the Lose Mach 2, which is, again, a budget reel. I hate this thing with a passion. If anybody tells you that this reel is the equivalent of other rod and reel combos for the same price, they are lying to you. They are lying to you. It is not a preference thing. This is an example of, you see how I don't even have line on the thing. They are lying to you. I have tried every setup, line, lure size that it tells me to use. I have tried Texas rig, because it's designed for pond fishing. It's designed for like a 7.3 spinnerbait, Texas rig, tapered action, fast action. That's what it's designed for, to catch it to the bait. I have tried everything with this thing, and I hate it with a passion. High-end fishing line. Compared to other budget reels for the same price, it's not even close. I am not a Lose person. The rod is decent. I don't mind the rod as much as I mind the reel. The rod is fine. It gets me decent casting distance. It's an IM8, so it's a cheaper. By the way, if you don't know what IM is, I do have a video on my channel discussing that about 2 years back. So just go ahead and search. I'm not talking about it again because I'm not explaining it to people. But you can look it up, and then you'll know when you're buying a fishing rod what that means. But I do have a really good video from 2 years ago explaining it. But the problem is when you get those really high IMs, the rod's more likely to snap. They're usually more sensitive, but they typically snap easier, so be careful. Just like catfishermen that'll use E-glass rods, yeah, good luck. They'll bend, they'll be more sensitive, but they can snap. Same thing with carbon rods, they can snap right back in your face. They're better rods, but they just aware they can break. Fishing with, I told you guys a story about how I shattered the Gary Loomis rod when I first had a sponsorship with them in BFLs. It's like, oops. I hooked into a big bass on Table Rock and it shattered it. I was like, oh, that hurts. They're selling those now for $650. $650. That's what Gary Loomis rods are going for now. There's no way. They're good rods. No way I'm paying $650 for a fishing rod. I'll do it for like a fly rod, maybe. And I'm a bass fisherman. I would do it for like a fly rod, maybe. Or bass are not that line sensitive to pay $650 for a fishing rod. Trout, you do it because they live in a creek and they can see even better than bass can. Bass are not that line sensitive. Catfish, you want a really good rod because they're heavy. That makes sense. The only time you would need a Gary Loomis rod for $650 is you fishing deep South Florida and you're trying to drag fish out of the weeds. That's about the only time you would use that. The practicality of that is just ridiculous. I asked him how many he sold. Now, mind you, our Bass Pro is in a really nice area. I go, how many, we got people live out here and make millions of dollars. I said, how many of those Gary Loomis rods have you sold? He goes, maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, but they like to pair them with their Shimano's. That's why. They'll get the Shimano Corrado DC and they'll pair it with a Gary Loomis rod. Because now Shimano owns Gary Loomis, but now he started another rod company. It's pretty decent. But the guy that made Gary Loomis rods doesn't even work there anymore. And that's what I mean when I say a lot of these fishing companies you're buying stuff from are not the same fishing company they were 20 years ago because somebody else bought them out. No, I have one. No. Stay away from ducket rods. Stay away from ducket rods. They're not good. They're okay. They're not great. They're meant to be for. They're supposed to be good. Like if you got like a super high end one, probably. Because Duckett used to be he's a promoter for MLF, but he used to fish, and I'm not a fan. Most of the ones that you think would be good because of that reason are not. If they put a pro angler's name on it, I can promise you it's probably not a good fishing rod. If they have to sell you on the name, it's probably not. I'd stick to St. Croix. Yeah, is good to go. St. Croix is good to go. They've been making rods a long time. What's funny is they were known for making cheaper rods back in the 70s. Now they're more high end, but when they started, they were the cheaper version. And then people loved them so much, they were like, okay, we can do this. We're pretty good at this compared to what everybody else is making. Thank you for the rose, Casey. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. The more roses, the better. Keep them coming. I need those gifts. Wobbling likes his gifts, guys. I'm here a lot, so gifts are always welcome. Likes are always welcome, too. I've had a lot of people in here that only have 200. You guys, you're so busy listening to my fishing stuff, you're not hitting the like button. Make sure we're hitting the like button. I always laugh. It's the days I have a ton of people in here that stay the whole time that don't hit the like button. And then the days I have like 2 people, they're the ones that hit the like button. It's funny. But Casey is pumping out those roses. Look at this. She's got goals in her mind. Yep. Look at this. Got 3 more. She is just pumping out the roses. Goals in mind. Oh, man. Yep. Now I'm getting other stuff. Look at this. Heart puff. Thank you, Casey. That is there's always that person that is generous on TikTok. This is what I tell people. You don't have to beg for gifts. They will come if you have good content. People will give you gifts if you don't say a word. Welcome in, Mary. Wild Things Fishing Channel, that's right. Keep tapping that like button too. She can change the lights, that's right. All right, Cassie, if you're still here. I totally forgot about that. We still do that. Because it's been a while since I had a gift. So if you get to change the lights for the color you want. So here you go. I got purple, I got green, I got that purple blue, I got this, I got that. If you guys gift, you get to change the color of the lights. That's how I do that. So if you let me know in the comment section what color you want the lights to be, I got you. So that's... I used to have somebody come in and give me really expensive gifts, and she would do it every stream. And so I wanted her to have something out of the channel. So what I did is I came up with the colored lights. It's not just for looks. That is actually the purpose of that. So if you gift and support the channel, you get to pick the colored lights. There you go. I got a dolphin. All right, Casey. What color do you want? You want purple? I got a pinkish purple. I can do different colors. She's just going to keep gifting right now. We'll let her pick when she's ready. Blue? Okay. Yeah. I don't want to stop you from gifting. You are more than welcome to keep gifting. But there's the blue lights. So there you go. Oh, man. That's fun. Look at the puffs. Here come the heart puffs. Here come the heart puffs. Yeah, Penn is a good real company. I don't know why that AI blacked you. There you go. Yeah, Penn is a good real company. She is giving out roses. This is cool. I like when I get gifts. Makes my thing feel special. I tell my girlfriend the same thing. She's like, we went to I'm so mad. We went to the outlet mall. We were Christmas shopping, but she wanted to give me some new hoodies for trout season because it gets cold out there in the wintertime. And it gets cold out there, and she wanted me to get some new hoodies. Some other hoodies are all beat up because I go fishing all the time. So we went into the Oakley store, got the Oakley hoodie for $20. We went into Under Armour. I got a red one I'm going to wear tomorrow for you guys to see. It was $20, $10, something like that. It wasn't much. It's red and black. It's pretty cool. But we couldn't find her size. And so for the longest time, we're at the mall and she's not buying anything for herself. I'm like, if you don't, we're not leaving this mall until you buy several items for yourself. And we did. And I was like, thank you. Thank you. We got that taken care of. So I was like, you are buying things for yourself. You're not leaving here until you buy stuff for yourself, and I get you a couple of things too. Because you are not going to just sit here and buy stuff for other people. I know it's Christmas. And I told her, I don't need anything from Christmas. You bought the advent calendar. You bought stuff for the stream. You've helped pay for this. Stop buying me stuff. I'm not with you because you buy me things. Stop it. I hate it. I actually do hate it. I have to keep her from doing it. And she loves to do it. And I understand that. But you don't have to buy my love. I'm here. I have been with you for 3 years. I'm not going anywhere. I'm happy where I am. I have no reason to give that up. So that's what I'm talking about, Parker. Keep those likes going. And I appreciate whether you gift or not. If you are in here every day supporting the channel, I appreciate that. I know you guys have lives outside of me. So any form of sitting in the room, hitting the like button, gifts, any form of that is appreciated. Any form of that is appreciated. So, I don't ever beg for gifts. The gifts help guys move us up in the algorithm. At one point, when I first started streaming on TikTok, I was in B1. I used to get a lot of gifts. TikTok has died off that much. But it does help the algorithm when you guys gift. So if you want to feed me out, that's a good way to do it. Likes always do too. Likes help. But again, like I said, when I don't do anything different on my channel that other people don't talk about, but I try to do it in a way that doesn't offend any part of the financial spectrum, right? I can try to do it in a way that says, hey, you can fish from the bank and catch fish, or you can do it at a $200,000 bass boat. I don't hate on LiveScope. I don't support it. I'm in the middle on it, but I don't have those conversations every day. I try to stay out of that parameter because otherwise you just offend people. Sponsors don't want to deal with you, and then you're just getting clicks for hate. So, in fact, Randy Blackett's finding this out right now on his channel. He's like, the only time they watch me is when I bash LiveScope. I was like, you're right, because you get those people that hate LiveScope and nobody else. The people that hate watch you on a to-do angling or hate watching you so they can clip you and make videos for themselves. So either way, you're not helping yourself. So trust me, if you have something to say that people care about, they will be there. If you have something to say that nobody cares about, nobody will watch. Well, you have fun with Ghost. I'm telling you, Ghost. You have fun trying to make that quantum reel look good. I would not want to be the one. If they sent me something from Quantum, I'd be like, yeah, I'll promote it for you, but you better give me a good one. Better work. Like if they sent me a Bill Dance reel for kids, the Quantum bait caster they have for kids, I would promote it strictly for kids. I would be like, okay, this is a Quantum reel. That's a budget reel if you want to buy for your kid just to go fishing once in a while. Right? Don't go out and buy your kid. The number one seller to teenage kids in my area is, again, I live in a nice area, so I'm being fair, the Shimano Corrado DC and the SLX because they all want to be streamers, so they're all buying the digital reels. They may not even know how to use them, but they're going to go out there and show them on their streams, and I just think it's hilarious. Again, they're not hard to use. So once you figure it out and set them properly, they're easy to use. But it is funny that those are the number 1 and number 2 sellers. The reels with the digital chips in them. Technology is a thing, guys. You're not stopping it in the bass fishing world. You're not stopping it. People are going to keep wanting. Now they got AI fishing goggles. Like, fishing is not going to look the same in another 20 years. I hate to tell you. Unfortunately, there's just too many people trying to make money in the fishing industry. It's not going anywhere. Oh, and I guarantee you, once those AI fishing goggles get more cheap, there'll be content creators using them. I know that John B. already used a pair on one of his videos. He caught so much flack for it, too. He was just trying to show it off. He wasn't promoting it. He was just trying to show it off. And everybody threw a fit. I'm like, okay, that's silly. Like, he's just showing it off, guys. He's not trying to win tournaments with AI fishing goggles. That would be different. That would be a different argument. But again, there is that protectionism of the sport. We used to do it the old way, so therefore the old way is the right way, even though there were problems back then. Back then, tournaments used to be catch and keep. Nobody talks about that because they didn't have live wells. But tournaments back then were catch and keep. Did a lot of damage to those lakes. Nobody ever talks about that part of it, right? Nobody ever talks about that part of it. So, again, we just had a bunch of people in here, and then all of a sudden they were gone all at once. I love when that happens. They just, okay, now I'm leaving. It's always at about the same time, too. It's like TikTok says, okay, you've done enough views for today. We're going to kick these people out. I don't know. Something funny goes on there because the belief, I'm sending out invites to them again just to see. It's funny because I know that's a lag thing or something because there's no way. There's no way that many people leave at once. Parker, we've had fun today. Now, when you go get your fishing reel, I want a picture of it. I want a picture of it. And you better catch a fish with it. That's the rule. You got to catch a fish with it because you got to make me look good. Be like, yep, I caught a fish with Wild Links fishing reel. He told me to get this fishing reel. Yeah, I got you. He's going to get this fishing reel. He's going to catch fish with it and be like, I really like the Abu Garcia Revo. I know it's more expensive, but that Revo Rocket 3 is a good reel. I really like that reel. I'm a big Abu Garcia guy. I never could land a sponsorship with them. I tried when I was tournament fishing. I never could get them to. And they usually are the ones that will sponsor anybody. I could not get them at the time. I was so mad. Because here I am fishing with all these Abu Garcia reels. Because this is before Shimano was really big. They were still basically in saltwater tournaments and stuff. And I'm so mad. I can't even remember some of the sponsors I had. But again, let me know how that reel goes. Mike, and I like the Hypermag. I like the Revo SX3. What was the other one I sent you? I can't remember. There's 3 that I sent you. And they were all good and well-known reels. But I can't remember the third one I sent you. But definitely get one of the 3. You'll be good there. But remember, on your spinning reels, you're looking for casting distance. So if they have a good casting distance, that's what you want. So you want bigger, because when you're spinning reel fishing, you might, finesse fishing, you're targeting isolated pockets, but a lot of spinning reels, you're designing to catch fish outward because they cast farther. So a good spinning reel will almost always outcast a good bait caster because the bait casters are designed for heavier line. Unless you buy like a saltwater spinning reel. That's why we had that conversation today. We had really good people in here today. We had gifters. We had a very good stream today. I'm happy with how that went. As you guys can see, my viewership is starting to pop back up. Every time you guys keep hitting the like, every time you gift, that feeds that algorithm. So we are getting back to our normal stuff. Going out of your way to, and we're going to clip this live today. I'm going to get off here pretty soon so I can go edit some videos before her girlfriend's daughter gets home. But we'll clip this live. We're going to show off that mock tube ridiculousness. That was funny because I hate that fishing reel with a passion. And I love seeing content creators tell me how great of a fishing reel that is. I'm like, not in any world, way or above. For the price, it's okay, but it's not anything special. But it is funny because they'll tell you it is. I see so many content creators with it. But the fishing stuff, they'll be like, oh yes, buy this reel. It's great. We know, right, guys? We know when they're selling something. You don't even have to tell us. We know when you're selling something. We've been watching enough fishing channels to know. But we had fun today. We did. Decent viewership for our size and for the time of day. I actually came live later today. I woke up late this morning because I wasn't feeling well last night. Tomorrow we are fishing in the rain. I think it's going to rain on us. But we got cloud cover. We got low pressure. We got some warming temperatures the last few days. It'll be cooler tomorrow, but I'm hoping the wind and the rain is enough to get them to bite. We're going to fish slow, jerk baits, lipless cranks, small Texas rigs probably. Maybe a Carolina rig or two. I haven't decided yet. I got to really look at that weather pattern tomorrow. But we are fishing tomorrow. I haven't decided if it's going to be morning or night. I'll post a live event for morning or night. But we'll definitely fish tomorrow because we haven't gone out in a few days. I try to go out at least every couple of days because then I have fishing content of actually fishing, and you guys are not just thinking this is a vlog stream because of the microphone. You know, I actually do try to go fishing. It just, the weather and the bite has been so bad this year. Even other people that are fishing in Missouri right now, because it's getting closer to wintertime, are like, why does everybody say fall bite is good? It's not because of the high pressure. It is in some parts of the country, but here it kind of dies. They're getting colder. The high pressure, just, you got to fish so slow. For stream, it does not make a good content. It just doesn't. After 3 hours, catch one fish, you know, like it's not. Granted, if I was fishing at the river, if I was fishing a lake that had more fish in it, it wouldn't be that bad, but it is bad where I go this year, and the drought has not helped. So I try not to fish days that are like super finicky, high pressure. And even if I do, I'll make videos out of those and clip them and teach you guys how to fish in that high pressure. But sometimes the fish don't show up just because it's high pressure. And so I don't like to film in those days. I'd much rather film in the rain, even if the camera's blurry. Even if I screw up a mic, I don't care. I'd rather do that and have an ability to catch fish than to put you through that. And then an ability to catch fish and put you through that. Though, guys, don't forget to hit the like button. The more, the better while we're here. The more, the better. I know, Parker, you've hit it a lot, so I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about anybody else that comes through. I want to make sure other people are contributing too. We had an okay day. Got some gifts. Got some likes. I had a lot of regular fishermen in here that were confirming what I was teaching, so that's always good. When you are, I'm not done streaming yet. I took that off. I'm not even done. But when you have other fishermen confirm what you're teaching, that's always a good thing. That helps. That always helps. And, you know, it's one of those things. And guys, don't forget to check out my TikTok shop video for I like big bucks and I cannot lie cup. It's been a great cup so far, so check that out. And fishing tomorrow. I wanted to go today. I really did. We got home super late last night. Tomorrow I'm clear. I'm in the clear tomorrow. And we got cloud cover, and we got rain, and we got wind, and we got a cold front that's not too cold, but cold enough to kind of cool them off from the last couple warm days. Should be right in that strike zone range if there's any moving fish. I just haven't been able to. They're like kind of sort of in the fall transition, but they're still almost summer-like. We've had so much high pressure and so much warmth, even though we had those few cold days, that they're just very lethargic. I did see some pressurized fish that are surfacing to the top that are not eating. They're just surfacing. So that concerns me. So I'm like, I need low pressure. I need these fish not to starve to death and be in my lake and actually bite. So Yeah, and I say that because there's a drought too that's kind of screwing them up. So hopefully we can get 1 or 2 tomorrow. That is the plan, Sam. That is the plan. Oh man, I am just glad to be able to stream today. I couldn't stream yesterday. I did get videos posted, but I was so mad I couldn't stream yesterday. I try to stream every day at some point. Some point every day while I'm just trying to be live and post videos. And now that I'm working on my Instagram stuff too, I'm posting stuff there. So we are really pushing, guys. We're gonna be live every day. And even in the wintertime, I'll be doing a TikTok shop, trout fishing stuff. That'll probably start this weekend. I'll talk to the girlfriend and be like, hey, I gotta go trout fishing this weekend and get some footage for you guys. Just because that bite's gonna kick on and the bass are gonna keep going lower and lower because of the cold water. In the lake I trout fish, the funny part is they allow bass fishing there too. So it'll be very easy that I catch a bass on a rooster tail when I'm trout fishing. That could easily happen. It would be hilarious. One year I was out there trout fishing and I caught a catfish because I was trolling it on the bottom and the catfish ate it. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens on Wild Things Fishing Channel. And like I said, I will be there tomorrow. And Parker, I want a photo today of the fishing reel I recommended. One of the 3. You say you're going to go buy this thing? I better not get a message from you. Obviously, if you have the money. But you told me you wanted my advice. I want to see the photo. I want to know what you think when you purchase it. But I recommended the Abu Garcia Revo Rocket 3, the Hypermag, or the Stratic. I think were the 3 I recommended. So check those out. And again, I think that's about it. I think we're done for today. I'm going to edit some videos. You guys will see the posted videos today. I am not going to be able to go live tonight because my girlfriend's... Well, actually, I might because my girlfriend's not going to be home until later. Oh, no, she gets off at 4. Scratch that. Scratch that. No live tonight unless I go fishing in the afternoon. I might do that. Might. And that'd be slim. But for sure, we'll go fishing tomorrow. I got to get some stuff on Instagram. I got to edit for here, too. So there will be some videos coming out today. So that'll get done. I just don't like to be live when her girlfriend starters here because there's just 3 people in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's a hassle to try to stream and tell people shh and all that. Like, you know, it gets to be kind of chaotic. So, especially when I'm trying to like explain something that's really finite in bass fishing or in fishing in general, and they're walking in and out of the room, and you're like, well, okay, I'm trying to explain something here, guys. Can you just, you know, if I could get them to be quiet and not argue with each other the whole night, then we'd be good. So I got to do some cleaning too. So we're not going to be able to go tonight. We'll have to go tomorrow. I got to do some dishes and stuff. And hopefully I'll get some videos up for you today. I'll definitely get videos up for you today. Because that's what I'll be doing tonight. That's what I'll be doing tonight. I got a Mizzou basketball game to watch tonight too. So I think it's tonight. It's SLU or Mizzou. I think it's Mizzou tonight. But you guys have a good night. As always, this is Wild Thing Live. And at your face.